Hello guys, welcome to There's a Coconut on My Stoop podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Like, comment and subscribe so you can stick around and hear what we have to say. These conversations are very important for us to have amongst ourselves as friends and in our churches. So do stick around and we can't wait what you guys have to say about this episode.
There's a coconut on my stoop. What on earth shall I do? I thought they were from the hood, but it seems I misunderstood. It's like they're white on the inside, but are really brown on the outside. There's a coconut on my stoop, and I don't know if that is good.
Hi coconuts. We're back with a new episode. My name is Queen Alita. I'm with my sisters, Yule and Bali, and we have a sister from another mother today, Karabo. Welcome, Karabo.
Hi, thanks guys for having me. This is
Listen, she was like asking,
so cool.
she was asking us, guys, am I a coconut? We're like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. You were a coconut the day I met you.
Never
I knew you was
seen
a
her as
coconut.
anything.
You know what? I decided not to take offense from episode 1. When, like, the way Millie defined it, I was like, yes, actually, it should not be offensive. If that's a description, then let it be a description. I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. So
And
welcome.
we're gonna bring our first guest.
Yay!
We'll drink to that. And guys,
With our teaspoons in our cups.
I noticed we all use teaspoons in our cups. I don't know if it's a coconut or black girl thing. Or I don't know, but it's a thing.
It's just,
cultural
it
thing with
works.
the
You
teaspoon
need
on
to
the
feel
mouth.
that teaspoon touching your cheek. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
It's you got to keep stirring.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's comforting as well.
I think so. So today, the topic is, let's talk about men, baby. That's what I was going to say. That's the word.
And me,
Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things.
that maybe, let's talk
the
about it.
Okay.
And also Christian
just
men.
Christian men
Christian
specifically.
men
Yeah.
specifically, because I think that's mostly what we encounter,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
Yule,
no,
do you want to start us off
it's a whole
there?
thing. It's a whole thing.
I'm not starting this week. She's like, you let you start. Guys, yes, I'm traumatized.
Why?
Yes, trauma.
Why?
Like these guys, they say like I talk too much, ne? So please comment if you think you said that.
Yeah, I think
Like who's the
there's some
talker
sort
here?
of
I think she's the
pull.
talker, but she disguises it, ne? In that there's no one that interrupts her. Like I get interrupted, that's why it looks like I'm talking a lot. But if you have to see who talks the most, winner number
If
one.
we had to take a vote from the table right now, let's take a vote.
Let's all take a
There's no
vote.
need to take a
Right
vote.
now.
Why are you scared
She's
of the
already offended by the vote and it hasn't happened yet. So clearly that's telling you something.
That tells you a lot. Okay, but it's good that you talk a lot. You have a lot of things to say. That's why I said, please start
Share
us
your
off.
opinion.
Yes.
About Christian men.
Yeah, I just think, let's talk about Christian men.
So I think my encounter with Christian men was from being a Christian and going to Christian churches, and I mean, you'd always see them praising Jesus. You know, like I'm an interesting person because I like aside from one black guy, I don't think there's been any black Christian guys that have ever checked me out. It's always been the white guys. Or the white guys to approach, and I don't understand why.
Really?
Like, for me, I've seen as though like Christian black guys by a coma, bruh. Like,
Yeah.
No, but yeah.
they've got this Toming thing.
I see what you're saying.
But I
seen
also
that.
think that's also black guys in general. I want to say that because I feel like I pick it up as well outside of the church context.
Yes.
Black guys seem to, I don't know, they're just not into black girls at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. if
It's
that's-
a growing trend. I've
It's a growing
noticed.
trend, yeah.
So we're talking, like men in the church specifically in relation to like romantic situations or just generally how
I think
men
it's
are
gonna
and how
be-
men move.
Go ahead.
I'm saying for the point I was making, it's romantic situations, like
Okay,
you're saying,
yeah.
like because we are black girls. I mean, I ended up marrying a colored guy
Yeah.
because the
Don't
black
swallow
guys.
it. Just say it. I ended up marrying a colored guy.
Say it with your chest.
Say with chest.
Say it from
Ended up marrying. I can't always want to say it, but it's not ended up like it was like I think it was a God.
It wasn't
appointment.
like you're like, oh well, let me just default to
Because
this.
black guys weren't
Yeah.
checking me out.
Yeah.
But that being said, like black guys weren't checking me out, and there was just one. But that one that was checking me out, I was really like, sorry, I've got an engagement late.
Yeah.
You know,
Who was checking you out.
Sean number 5.
It wasn't a Sean, it was a black guy.
Oh, okay, yes.
Timber.
Timber one.
Timber one.
Timber one.
Timber one.
So I know of Timber One.
I think I remember something
hearing
vaguely. I
about
remember
Timber
like,
One.
yes.
Guys, why are we airing out my laundry?
Yeah,
I'm also in Karabo's question though. Like I feel like Karabo. I'm just saying romantic. Just to be
Romantically?
romantic. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You know, when I first put up like advertising or marketing for this podcast, I said taking our private convos to these YouTube streets. So
Exactly.
let's have this private convo. If you
Tell
want
us
to.
about Timber. Tell us about Timber One.
Wild.
Okay, we're not going to hear about
I
Timber.
can say I haven't had any like particularly racially pointed, you know, I almost said hookups because that's not a thing.
Yeah, because the term has changed over the years.
Yes.
It really has.
Any romantic interactions, flirtationships, I don't think for me it's been like, okay, black guys are not, colored guys are, Indian
Yeah.
guys are not.
Yes, yes.
It's actually just that nobody right now. The pond is, hey, they say there's fish in the sea. I'm like, show me the sea.
Please, can I see this fish in the sea?
Am I in the wrong ocean?
You got to cross continents,
Everyone-
babes.
No, because the guys are saying that they want wifey material, but they're not giving husband material.
What do they mean by
What do you
wifey
mean?
material?
I don't know
Yeah.
what they mean by that.
But okay, when you say they're not giving husband material, what does that mean? What do you mean?
It means they're not showing up that in a way that I would assume a husband wants to show up. Like, all right, they say you find a wife. You don't become a wife at the altar when you say I do. You don't become a wife. Like in your marriage, you are working already as a Proverbs 31 woman, if we're saying that's the standard, you know, of a woman, of a wife.
Yeah.
That you're showing up already with your relationship with God as number one,
Exactly.
and then relationship with your family, your community as number two. And yeah, just showing up in those ways, committed
Yeah.
to God and kingdom work, but also being open to sharing that life with somebody else and building kind of
Yeah.
that symbiosis with someone.
Exactly.
And it doesn't seem like they're looking for somebody that's already building that. It just, they're giving off the energy like they are wanting to, and like Nara Smith from scratch. They're
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Wait, guys, we a whole different
All the
generation.
millennials here.
So what is the two of you talking about?
yeah. Okay, so now sidetrack.
It's quite a sidetrack.
It's such a niche thing, but she's woman on TikTok. She's a wife and she's a mother, and she cooks for her husband. She says that's her love language,
trad
and she
wife
makes
vibes.
everything
Trad wife vibes.
from scratch.
Oh,
like
wow.
she'll make cheese from scratch. She'll bake focaccias.
She makes
and
bubble gum from
I
scratch
think I've
the other
seen
day.
one
Yeah.
of her clips
She made
where she
bubble
made
gum.
chocolate from scratch.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
my
She's
God.
got a colored. Well, she's half South
She's
African and
South African,
German.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what they are looking for.
But I think men are
Yeah.
looking for a woman that they can build from scratch as well. That's not already, they want to like, I don't
They
know.
want to mold her.
They want to mold
No,
their
wait.
wifey.
Executive or whoever you are, is that true?
But wait,
Wait,
before,
that's what
okay,
that's the executive one.
Yeah, I was also going to ask
pretty
for
good.
Random
Yeah.
to
From
give
the
us.
men.
He did say we can.
Okay, he said we'll see.
Eventually. If you guys are listening. When he brought the question, he said you guys
My
can
name
call me
on-
Random.
okay, cool. Yes.
Okay, so this is
What are you
dangerous
guys
ground.
looking
I'm not going to speak for every man out there, but I
Yeah.
maybe will try and take a generalization.
Yeah.
I'll make a generalization to
You're
say, look,
stuttering. That's not good.
Hit
I
us.
mean, we're the king of the jungles, right? If you look at it that way, right?
Yeah.
Just putting it lightly, we're lions, so we would like, the ones to bring the kill to us. Let me just put it to you like that.
Don't
So
the
how does-
lionesses
So-
bring the
Hunt?
kill?
Yeah.
That's what he said.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
what he said.
You bring
The
us the kill.
lioness brings the
So
kill.
what
Yes.
does bring us the kill look like?
It's like
Because I don't think that's what he's
I don't want to use this word because I don't know. I think it's a bit of a swear word in a lot of circles. But okay, fine. I'll quote it. Submission is the key word there.
It shouldn't be.
So you're
That's
not. So
not a-
you're looking
yeah.
for submission. You're not looking for. You're not going. Can she cook? Can she do this? Can she do that? You're just looking.
Can she do whatever I tell her to do when I ask her to do it?
That's
No, I don't think that's the case. No. We don't want a robot.
That's a worldly submission. That is not
yeah,
submission
that sounds
under
like
Christ.
crazy. Yeah.
But worldly submission is within the church, and that's the point that I was going to say as well, is that the reason I feel like these church boys want that is because of the messages that they receive, right? We all receive when as teenagers and even younger than teenagers, tweens, right? When you start even puberty's on the horizon, you get told these messages that men are like this, right? They can't change it. Vele, it's the way God made them. Vele, it's like they are predators. Vele, if they see an ankle, that's it.
Oh my gosh, the ankle.
That's it.
If there's your shoulder,
Modesty. That's it. Exactly.
And it's like, what about self-control? What about the fruits of the Spirit?
Like, there's more self-control in men outside of the church, in non-believers, than there are in believer men.
Yeah, wait. So, I'm sorry to jump you. That's deep.
It's the end.
Because what you just said there is really deep. Because it feels as though like Christian men, they don't bend. Like, they set to these rules, and I've got all this backing and the scripture behind me that I actually don't even understand properly. But in my mind, I've got all this backing to make sure this is how I stay.
So no matter what personality, even if my personality as a man is absolute trash, I am within the right to act trash because you are my wife and you must submit to me and my trash. And therefore, I'm going to look for a woman who can do it, submit to me and my trash.
Yeah. That's true. That's why submission has become like a swear word now.
Yes.
Because of toxicity like that.
Yes.
Where in the Bible, it really was, it's supposed to be a beautiful thing because it says submit one to another.
One to another.
In different ways.
Yes.
like Christ did to the church.
Exactly.
like let's think about the fact that he needs to submit as well. Like, I can trust myself to submit to a husband that has already submitted himself to Christ and living under. So then it's not a swear word. It's not a scary thing because I can see what you are doing in your submission, and if you are going to be the head of the household, I can emulate that and show you then how I can submit to you in this household in the same way that you do to Christ. But if you're not setting that example, then it's not happening. I'm so sorry, my man. Also, as coconuts, like you best know that I'm educated as well. I have an opinion. I'm not going to be like my own mother, your mother that raised you with a different standard of like what a woman is and what the household is supposed to look like. Like there will be.
Christ can't want that. For me, Christ can't want you to.
Let's throw a spanner in the works,
to just lose yourself in a
marriage.
But
let's throw a spanner in the works, Let's say you get a guy, right? And he's asking you to submit.
How you put that? You get a guy.
You get a guy. I know a guy. You get a guy. And he's asking you to submit, and I'm like, okay, let's say, okay, not as extreme as beating you, you know what I mean? But he's just submitting the wrong things in J. You know what I mean? Let's say he's got an illegal business, and you already as a wife know that because you're both going to church together, and he's just dabbling in the things that are not of Christ.
It's an absolute no for
and
me.
he's asking you, count the books, but count the money, bruh, do
Where's
the books.
your community?
And wait, before we get to community,
community is saying yes.
What does for a Christian wife, a godly wife, what does submission look like in that moment? Because we are called to submit. Even though, negative, no one is ever perfect. So what does submission look like? Yes, we have opinions.
You asked the
yes,
question.
we've got voices.
She's trying to quote, context.
And the second time it's harder. We are educated. We know wrong from right. We're not, and I say this respectfully, we're not our mothers. And I said our mothers because the generations have changed.
Yes.
In the fact that there's more, we've got, I don't know, even to use the word power feels incorrect. But you guys get
we
the
just
gist.
use our
more
voices
autonomy,
differently than they did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but how would submission look like? How do you submit but still draw the line there?
I think, please go ahead.
I was gonna say so I follow Sheila Ray Gregor, and I listen a lot to her podcasts. And the work that she does is she helps women, and she writes books about just deconstructing these messages that we've received as women in the evangelical church, especially in the US and Canada, because it's that message is intense there. So a lot of women stay in horrific abusive marriages. Trying to submit, right? So just listening to the different stories. Some eventually leave these marriages, they get divorced, and others are able to reconcile, right, with their spouses. But it's community. That's one of the things that where that can stand behind a woman in that tough situation, right? If, like the Bible says in Matthew, you go if your fellow Christian person is offending you, you speak to them, they're not receptive. So you bring in community, bring in a voice, they're not receptive, then the church and still not receptive, right? So I think there's an element of that, of the community is needed, but then there's also communities that are also just decayed, right? People that will be like, keep going back. I mean, one of the stories I remember, Begezela. One of the stories I remember is this woman. She was, she was really following the obligation sex message, right? That your husband needs sex, you give no matter what.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Right. So so it was
because they quote the scripture.
It was never for her, exactly.
Yeah,
so then she's like, so she writes a letter to whoever, one of these pastors, saying she's literally in the shower, sitting on the floor in tears, thinking about that she has to go, and this is like
that she has to
that's
go
traumatizing.
go have sex with her husband.
Yeah.
Can't why didn't she want to have sex with her husband?
Because of the obligation message, it messed it up from the beginning for her.
Because in consent culture, that's called coercion. If
Okay.
somebody asks you and you don't
it's
want
a form
to,
of abuse.
and they will
Coercion.
still pursue it, that's coercion.
And they'll
that
use
can be-
scripture. They'll say, but
To back it up.
Here's a question I saw on one of the Mamahood on Facebook, ne?
Mm-hmm.
The one lady put there that she's pregnant now, ne? And she just doesn't have
The drive
have
for
sex.
it,
Just
yeah.
doesn't, it's not there. So he must sacrifice and wait till the baby comes. Ne?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, that's cute. Everyone's like, yeah, sacrifice, go for it. I mean, he must sacrifice, go for it, what. And then I had a question in my mind. Ne?
Mm-hmm.
My question is, the day he doesn't want, his body's still capable of doing it. But if he loves you enough, he's like, let me sacrifice. What's wrong with sacrifice in relationship? Do you get what I'm saying? I don't think there's anything wrong with sacrifice in a relationship, but I think
Not at all.
things must be discussed. I mean, if really you can't, you can't.
conversation,
You know what I'm
communication
saying? But,
between a
but I
couple.
don't think
difference
I don't
between-
think it also removes the fact that sometimes we're gonna have to sacrifice. Not
Yeah.
everybody's gonna want to.
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
No, but
yeah.
I think that we need to. So we also need to make a distinction between sacrificing, right, in a marriage, which is, they also call it what, like
compromise.
compromise. That's
Yeah.
the word. Yeah, compromise, and being in these abusive situations that are not okay. That are not, and I feel like with the story I was telling, that's
Not okay.
Where someone is now
you are
crying in the shower and
something
it's
has
become
gone wrong.
traumatic.
Something has
Yeah.
gone terribly wrong there,
Yeah.
and we need to just go back to basics.
it's
and,
like her
and
voice
fix
is
it.
not being heard. The
Her
communication is not there. So I like Eula's scenario because now we can communicate instead of just saying, "Well, I don't have the drive. I'm pregnant with your child," but we're still a
Yeah.
unit. Let's
Yeah.
talk
Yes,
about
and
this.
you
I
can
still
make
have needs as a
sacrifices,
man.
you know what I mean?
Exactly, because that's what marriage is about. It is about sacrifice and compromise. I like that word actually more. Actually, both work just fine. But I forgot your question, and I had something to
But
say.
I've also like from many women in the community, you know, they've also spoken about situations where they've gotten married and it's that night of the wedding. You know what I mean? And
That
the
can
way
be
that
tricky.
guys in the church have been taught is quite tricky. Some of them they don't go through. And some churches teach really well. I mean, we had a guy
they
that
prepped
dived
them
in.
well.
Yeah, Vickers prepped as well. But some guys don't prep you well. And the guy's like, this must happen now. Whether you're dry or what. And
It's the wedding night, so
Yes.
it must happen. It's
and then it
again,
creates a trauma.
communication. Yeah.
And then afterwards, when somebody, your body just already clinches up and you can't, like, it's always going to be a traumatic experience. And that's when women don't end up enjoying.
Did you know that Christian women experience more vaginismus than non-Christian women?
More what?
What's
Vaginismus.
What's that?
Yeah,
Is
explain to
is
us.
the vaginismus is like the
That
that
where you freeze up,
where you freeze.
there's nothing
so
going
you
in.
can't perform the act of sex because it closes up.
Because there's
your
a lot.
vagina closes up.
Yes, basically that's what it is.
Yeah, your
'Cause
vagina shuts down.
I think with purity culture, like there's so much around sex in just this whole marriage scenario as a Christian because there's purity culture. I think Mali, you were saying, I don't know who it was, how for millennials it's been the most drummed in thing.
Yes.
Whereas previous generations, they could hold hands, they could still kiss, but for us millennials it was
You can't even hold hands,
Don't look at
bruh.
each other.
don't even
You're
look
going
at
to
each
die.
other.
You're
Okay?
going to die.
You can't be alone in a room for a second.
Yeah, you gotta have your third party there as well.
I think I was on the opposite side of that purity culture where it just wasn't talked about at all.
Oh,
It was just like,
yes.
do you
It was
see-
obviously that
it was
was
like,
it.
you see your cousins are pregnant.
Yeah, and then just like,
Yes.
sure.
Okay, but what's the
Families.
convo?
Yes.
What's the
Yes.
conversation?
What
What's
are you
the
trying to
what
communicate
is the
to me?
lesson here?
Yeah.
And that's why I think I'm so about this thing of community. That's why I feel like it's drummed in. It's so important because whether you're in like single, whether you are in the dating phases, if you're in premarital counseling,
Yeah.
you know, God willing, hopefully you're doing premarital counseling, and you're already in marriage, you are needing other single people, married people in your community to tell you how it's
How it's
supposed to
supposed to
go,
be, 'cause
or
people
to
don't
give you
tell you.
guidance, or like, you know, just give you insight,
Yeah.
because you can't think that you can do this marriage thing on your own. Yes, it's a covenant between you and God,
Absolutely.
but definitely there are people that have experience in this covenant that will have
Need that
more
community.
to
Yes.
give you and more insight that's gonna
Because if
give
you
you the
react
handles
how you
that
want
you
to,
need.
you're gonna mess things
Yes.
up. It's
So like in that initial
Yeah.
scenario that you gave with, you know, the guy that was what was he doing with the finances, the accounting?
Yes, yes,
He
yes,
was
yes,
doing
yes.
fraudulent things. Like, okay, but do his homies know what he's doing? Do you, as you know, are you the
Yes.
girlfriend,
Are
the
you
wife, the
transparent?
fiance?
Yes.
Are you guys letting people know? Listen, this is what's been going on in our business. I don't know. I'm not
Yes.
sure. Are you getting good advice? And then like, what's the roots
'Cause
of that? What's
I love
leading
that.
him
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
this decision?
And I think I also love that
are
because
men in therapy?
because community, each therapy rates are coming now.
Yeah.
Because community creates these things of confessing your sin to one another,
Yes.
and it's also correction about it. Because sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes guys don't want to be corrected by girls. They just don't.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
listen to another male voice, and that's the voice that they'll follow.
Yes.
And I just quickly wanted to say something to the people. This is a great book for kids, right? From the age of 4 upwards, there's 3 levels of it, and basically it's like sex education for kids from 4. And I got the book from my friend Cindy. These 3 books, and just then I've got 2 9-year-olds and a 6-year-old. And for the baby,
And
of
a
course.
baby.
But just to, at that age, to show them, like, not hectic pictures, but to speak about that
Their bodies.
about God, and because the book
In
talks
that.
about
Mhm.
God,
Putting God in
and
that,
there's
yeah.
that's a female body, that's a male body,
Yes.
and one day you guys will make a baby, and I mean, the one there was a picture of a woman giving birth, but not as hectic as we know it because it's cartoons, and asking questions of identity, and to go through that book, because my daughter last week came and told me, Mom, someone drew a penis on the school bathroom. She's in grade 3.
Such a school.
You know what I mean?
Such a good one.
And but all those sexuality questions have already been safely spoken
At
about
least
at
she can
home.
come
home.
to
She
you and
knows.
say
Yes,
it,
and
because
she-
we
and she
wouldn't have
like-
been able to do that.
And we would have freaked out. We were so
Yeah.
No parent at home is hearing about that one.
you're like,
no.
hey, they're looking at this thing like, wow, you know what I mean? And it also can create, it also can awake things.
Yes.
It can awake things in kids
Yeah.
that they're not ready for,
Yes.
and they don't understand where these feelings are coming up, and it's puberty,
Yeah.
and then it becomes this shameful thing, that thing that was in the bathroom, and all sorts of things can start off. But when they understand how those things fit in, I think can we put the link for that book?
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
the book.
Sorry,
I'm looking at you like,
I need
oh,
the
so
book.
you let me buy the secular
Anyone who's
one.
teaching
I got the secular one. Mine doesn't have God in it.
Kids ministry. Anyone
My
that
kids-
works with
sorry.
kids knows
Yes.
kids. They need that book
They
because
do,
children
yeah.
will learn things outside anyway. They will ask
Oh,
questions.
yes.
If they don't feel comfortable asking their parents, they're going to ask you, and you're gonna need to.
Say something.
And there's a lot of fake
Age-appropriate
news out there about
answers.
sex when
Yes.
you're a child. Because
Dude.
I thought just by looking at a guy or just touching his hand, I used to think I had AIDS.
Dude,
Because
no.
nobody's telling
Dude,
you.
I used to think I was,
Yeah.
you know, when I was in primary school and high school, my tummy was snatched, bruh. When I was in primary school and high school, I had a tiny flat tummy because I used to suck it in all the time because I thought I was pregnant. Because I used to look at guys and I was like, I'm pregnant, a baby's gonna come. I'm just like, let me just
Yeah.
tuck my tummy in. I used to think I was
Yeah.
pregnant.
Yeah.
Let me
And
tell
then-
you, coconuts in 2024 know too much.
Yes.
They know
Yeah.
a lot more than
Because now
we
pornography is more readily available now. Whereas
Yeah.
back in our when we were growing up, it was a VCR. Like you're not just gonna.
Yeah, you have to go to the
access
shop.
wasn't easy.
Where are you going to
Or
go
some
to the shop
uncle
with
that
the
just
small
had
person?
it in their house,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Yes.
oh, what's this?
Yeah.
VCR, and then you're like this, like
Or staying up, you know, on
What is
ETV.
this?
That was a thing.
Yeah, who knows how to do the voice?
on it tonight.
On
On
the first
it.
time I was
TV
awake
killed a lot
during
of
those
children,
times, and I
guys.
was like, sister, dude, immediately grab the remote to just that volume. The volume. You're like,
Guys, whoever solicited that on ETV Stila, you killed a lot of kids.
Honestly,
no
especially on school holidays, because that's when they catch us. Because you're staying up late watching nonsense.
On E.
And then E happens.
But again, I feel like in the church,
You
this
made
stuff
me
is not
cough
being
with my
addressed, like, not maybe publicly, because that's not something you need to preach about on the pulpit, but
You can make it a normal discussion.
Yes, let's
be
talk
like
about
these
the
little
effects
group
of
things.
pornography that men are watching, women are watching,
Yes.
and it's influencing how we are viewing each other in relationships, whether you're a churchgoer or not.
Yes.
Because it's rife
On that
in our
point,
culture.
I just want to say, I was listening to this podcast. He's a psychologist and he gets a lot of calls. But he mentioned one scenario. He said, the younger generation, whether it's like Gen Z or the younger millennials, actually the males, the men, have it harder in terms of pornography.
Yeah.
So women are finding that they're having more difficulty in these marriages because of the pornography aspect, because there's so much access to it. Whereas us, the older millennials, our guys that we're married to that are kind of in our age group didn't have as much access.
Oh,
So it's
so the
almost like
younger
we're the last
generation is-
people that have men that are almost, they're more ready for marriage and they don't have all of that pornography conditioning, if that makes sense. And it's actually just heartbreaking, because what's the future of marriages and family if we have men that are struggling like this? For me, it's hard to kind of compute in my mind, because I haven't been around men who have those issues.
And I think,
but I think it's a huge
no, I think-
issue for these coming generations.
Yeah, and I think, what is the ministry behind? What is the church doing about that?
Yeah.
Yes, they meet to talk to each other as brothers, but then it feels secret again. It's not like that book, like at home, let's talk about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like God gives us wisdom and he gives us plans on how to do things, but I also feel like the energy, we should be putting more energy into it.
Absolutely.
Because it is
should
real
be very
for
intentional
for both male and female.
as
You know
a
what I mean?
church. Yeah.
And as a church, it needs to be at the forefront of everything, because it's
Because the
affecting
world is at
marriage.
the
It's affecting
forefront.
marriage. It's affecting the household, the kids,
Yeah.
Exactly.
everything. And the marriage is what Jesus is coming back for his bride.
Yeah.
This is a direct attack on marriage, and it's getting worse.
Exactly.
And we need to be petition to governments, whatever. I don't know how we're gonna shut porn out, but you guys get what I'm saying.
It's
But
petitions.
we can do
Voices.
it. But we can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. If there were more voices speaking against it more publicly, because we can sit in our little private situations and talk about this, and then, all go home and carry on with life.
And our discipleship courses in the, the
Yes.
niche Christian happy clappy churches, but as in, whatever avenue. I'm just not to throw any church umbrella,
yes. And we'll
whether
probably
you're a
bleep that out,
Methodist
though.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Like every person that believes in Christ needs to know that this is a cornerstone kind of in the culture, and it's going to bleed out and affect everything else, like you said, families, marriages. So it needs to move out of the niche pockets, and we just need to become more comfortable in talking about that.
Yeah, because I also think about journey. Like we really go into it on
Yes.
this program, but it's like it's just here.
Yes,
How do we
Such
push
a
it
small
out there?
percentage of people that
So-
get to have that knowledge.
Yeah. I think for me personally as well, I am a youth leader in my church. And so I try and create a space that is that doesn't shy away from those topics, right? So just the language we use as well, I don't want to say things like corn. I will say porn, and I know corn comes from like TikTok, because
Is that what they do now?
Because they bleep it out.
because they bleep it out.
You're exposing us.
I'm not a TikTok either, but I just
Is that the latest thing?
I've heard.
Yeah,
I've seen on
So
YouTube
things
people
to
say
be
that,
able
to
to
bleep
say
it
stuff
out.
like that, to be able to even say basic anatomy words, vagina, penis.
Yes, and
so
say
that
them basic.
like basic, like this is
That
it's
it's not
not
a
down
shameful
there.
thing.
It's not a shameful
It's
thing.
not down there. It's such a hoo-ha. It's a vagina. You know what I'm saying?
The JJ.
It's not anti-flow. It's
Yeah.
your period.
Yeah.
Okay, you are menstruating.
Shark Week.
Yes.
I hate that one.
So
I'm like,
do-
what do you
It's
mean?
one of my favorites, actually.
And I haven't even told my kids about menstruating. Can you imagine when it comes, the shock of their lives if I don't speak? Because I got shocked. I was like at a church camp, sleep over, nochal.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this now?
And you've got a
I
9-year-old
was
girl.
dying.
I was about to say you've got a 9-year-old. I started when I was 10.
It's around
Family
the corner.
Clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Genetics.
Yeah.
Right in the family.
But yeah, to try and and that's my piece, to try and create these spaces where they can come. And I have had 1 or 2 people come and be like, okay, like this is what's happening. I'm struggling with porn. Like the
come again?
teens.
Anzwana?
They're struggling.
Like, come again? Struggling with?
See, and this is why they don't talk.
Say it
That's
now.
why actions like this.
That's why it's so important.
After that, you're struggling with porn. Go, don't even talk to until they even don't ever.
Yeah, but that's what they say. They want you to hush up and don't talk
Yes.
about it, and people just suffer.
We'll just
through
pray
it.
for
So
you
I
and
do
then
try
try
and
and
help
hunky
you.
Yeah,
dory.
so even in the
No.
reaction, I also try and be like, oh, okay, like I hear you.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's just it's your world right now. You think you are the biggest sinner on the planet right now. I promise you,
It's okay.
it's okay.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're not alone. Like even in this room, yes, many people don't talk,
Yeah.
but you're not alone.
Exactly.
It's just some steps we gotta take to help you, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You know.
And just to commend them for just being brave
Even
enough.
to
That's
be
what I like.
acknowledging
That's what I like about that
it.
podcast that I watch, The Psychologist. He'll always stop after the person has shared their situation and he'll say, you know what, I'm really proud of you for just saying that out loud.
Yeah.
You know? So I think
It's creating an environment where things come to the light, because
Yeah.
the devil can't do anything with them
Oh,
when they're in
that's
the
my
light.
We were
favorite.
discussing this the other day,
Yes.
how we don't do that verse, confess your sins to one another.
Yes.
We don't do that verse in
And
the
I mean,
church.
guys, how many, like, are you telling me none of us
the
sin
scripture
today?
goes on to say
Yeah.
healing.
Are you telling me
Yes.
there's none of us that sin today? Because none of us is confessing nothing to one another.
So true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, guys, we
Do
need
you want to
to.
start? We
Yeah.
start to timber
Is this
one.
the
What
platform
happened?
for you to? Would you like to? Something on the
Or
table.
would you like?
This is a safe space.
I like to say. No. I can't even remember. That's how, like,
yeah.
because we don't confess our sins. We don't even know
We're
that
so
we just
used
sinned.
to it.
Yeah.
It's like, now we got to think, did I sin today?
Yeah, later on
Yes,
during prayer
yes.
time. Yeah, during
Yeah.
prayer time, you now have to like really sit, okay, Holy Spirit, reveal anything. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I did do that. Like
Yeah,
when
'cause
you
it's- you're
realize
now
the
moving
things you've
past
done,
it.
you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
realize it in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, the person that you're interacting with now, you're like, they probably felt this or that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I want to go back to something that you said earlier about, because we started off with talking about Christian men,
Yeah, I was
dating
gonna go back
Christian
there,
men. You were saying
So
something
I'll-
interesting.
Yeah.
But you started to touch on something, or was it in my mind? I was thinking about your timber. How Christian
Oh,
men
you
be
had a
like,
timber,
I want
yeah,
to
girl.
marry, like God said you're my wife.
Yeah, they'll be like, God said you're my wife. You're
Wild. How have I never had this experience before?
I've heard.
Your timber.
I don't think I've had that experience outside of
He
my
was
husband.
2018.
Yeah.
It was 2018, babes.
Yeah, no, what a,
A
year.
good year.
There was
What are you?
there was
lot of
Timber 1,
shenanigans
there was
that
Timber
year.
2, there was Timber 3.
Oh, you had three timbers.
Yeah.
That shows you that God is actually
Was-
about to bring your marriage blessing,
And was
because
India
the
shown in
devil brings
2018?
those
And
counterfeits.
Andy managed to be, Andy was Timber 4
2018.
because I don't know if Andy's
Is the show
is white on the inside.
Mzwakhe. Let's just call him by his name.
Yes.
So well done, Timber 4.
Guys. So if I was a Bridgerton mom, I'd be so happy, because that's the fourth gentleman caller that she has.
Gentleman caller.
Get them married.
Marriage for love.
was
Violet
the-
Bridgerton is
God.
happy right now.
Whoever Violet is,
Yeah, she's
just
happy.
celebrate.
What is the title that they want? Is it the belle of the season? The
Yeah.
Diamond.
diamond. Yeah, no, buddy, you were the diamond.
The 2018 diamond of the season.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, no, but there's only, I think it was Timber 1 that
Getting the timbers confused. Like, what's his name?
That was the only
Okay.
one that said like you are my wife.
And was adamant about it.
Adamant,
know which
couldn't
Timber
take
this
it,
was.
couldn't unconvince him whatsoever.
The one
Oh,
that
wow.
just would
So
not
how
stop.
did you know that Timber 1 was
Bridget,
not your
Timbers,
husband?
her timbers
Buddy?
would not
That's a
stop.
good question. I just wasn't. It was so.
But they were
So
all
he told me
persistent,
this,
buddy.
so I was like, okay, I'm not going to jump on it. I also want to hear myself.
Was he hot? Like,
But we liked him.
That's not.
Besides how
That's
he
not
looks.
the question we're asking.
No, it's an older millennial thing.
That's the first question. If someone's like, guys, I met someone, send the photo, is he hot?
I'm with you guys.
He was just a guy. I mean, he
wanna
wasn't
see
a
what he
model.
looked like.
Yeah.
He wasn't a model. He was a guy.
But we liked him. He had a nice
he had a
personality, very
fantastic
Timber is, can you
infectious.
whisper?
Not from this
He had a
province.
pot belly.
Not from this province.
Oh, I liked him.
Yeah, he
we all
was
liked
really, he was a really legit person,
Yeah.
and I would have been a great friend if he wasn't doing timber stunts. And yeah, so yeah, and he'd like phone like 3 to 4 times
I
a
remember
day.
you were constantly being bombarded with
Always.
I like
phoning.
him. He took me
But
out
I like
because
that
he liked
'cause-
you.
You what?
He took me out because he liked Mbali, so I
Oh,
like him.
yes.
I was like, yes, you've got my tick. Then I said, listen, you need to go with this timber, right?
Did you actually?
She had her own mind. I couldn't control the child.
Sorry.
Sorry
Getting
for
called
you.
is nice when you want to receive the call. If you don't,
Yes,
4 times is.
in my experience, I'm
Please.
like, you best be calling me
After
3,
the
4
third
times
call,
a day.
you actually are you just pretend it's not
you
ringing
see,
anymore.
But then for me, that's also another sign that it was not a thing. I'm
That's
not that person.
that kind of person.
Yeah.
Don't call me once a while. Once a while. I don't even think Andy
Once
and I
every
called
2
each
days.
other every day.
Yeah, for
We
you.
messaged every day, yes, but then we'd call maybe once every third or fourth day.
Okay.
That's a comfortable number for me. Yeah.
So
But-
quality time, is that not one of your...
No, quality time is
okay.
is
But
my
I guess
top.
it's
It's quality
different.
time than gifts. But so with what did I want to say? There was something I wanted to say about Timber one. Yes,
you
the
wanted
thing
to
why
hear from
I
someone.
knew how I knew he wasn't the one was that just our we were not our paths were not aligning.
Okay.
You know, and he really wanted that wife, a submissive wife, and he was also from rural areas in SA, right? Sort of rural, but very cultural.
And you
dense.
felt that you couldn't be that.
I wasn't.
He was
gonna,
a
I wasn't
proper
gonna
Zulu
be
man.
Mfazi, so.
Okay.
Let's
Like
just say.
a fuzzy, like
Yeah.
this,
You know what?
Yeah.
who was making
We like them.
a pap.
You like them? Okay, you like them?
But let's have a
Oh, wait,
discussion.
put a pin in that. Let me finish. I need to hear about this. I need to hear why.
But
'Cause I'll share my
So, but even in the
experience
in the church context, right? And at that time, I was going on my justice thing. I was like, I'm not about to be
Social justice.
an elder's wife.
No, you
I
know
want
what?
to be the elder.
Yeah, because you're busy marching in Vicks, coming home with black powder on your face, and you couldn't just see yourself sitting
Buddy,
down.
I
in
don't
front
know
of
how
the
you did that.
teacher.
I would have been the person at the back of that protest, or go home and be like, "Hey guys, I see you."
No, dude, she was a protester. She couldn't see herself in front of the stove, sitting down.
Yeah. So that's why I was like,
Bringing the bowl of
it just
of water.
never. We just never
that
aligned
way.
as well, and I thought, did I really want to move out to the other side of the country as well?
Yeah.
It just, it just wasn't happening, and the calling was too much, and so I think eventually after a while I was just like, okay, because I'd tell him, please just don't call so much,
Oh, okay.
and then he'd stop for like 3-4 days, and then it would go back. And then I think after the third time, I was like, don't talk to me. Talk to my lawyer.
It's tough being a guy. It's tough the rejection that you face from women. Guys, I totally sympathize
You
with
know
the
we
men out
sympathize
there.
with you guys.
Just taking that step to share like
Well
that.
done, and do not stop. Please do not
The
stop. Well done.
ineligible bachelors are working so much harder than the eligible bachelors.
know.
And that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Because the men that we want to marry want us to shella them.
Oh,
And me, personally, as
It's
a
not
child of
gonna
God,
happen.
No.
please forget about it.
But what points were you making here about your taste?
Yes, I'd love to hear that.
What? No, you know, it's actually funny. I was thinking about, because I was chatting with my mom the other
I
day.
don't see you
She's
as
talking
this
to me
submissive person.
about,
Like,
you know what, Yule, you've never seen me in a relationship because I've been single the whole time you know me.
but you are like,
So
you
you
are
don't
like,
know what could happen.
prayer point. I'm gonna
don't
add
know
you to
what
my
could
prayer
happen.
list.
you are like the person that if something's not like, I'm just like projection manage my job because I know it's going to be
because
done
I'm
properly.
reasonable. And if we're in a relationship, I don't think you're going to ask things of me that are outside
Yeah.
of what I am willing and able to do for you, for the benefit of our relationship and our union, or whatever the case is. I'm easygoing. I'm very stern and can be stubborn.
We are
but at the
pega.
end of
That's
the
actually a
day,
good point.
Yeah,
that you
pega.
have.
I mean, not to the standard of a Zulu man.
Yeah, no.
But I live alone, so I must feed myself. Do you know what I'm saying? I must eat. If you're going to ask me to do like istampa ne beef stew ngama beans, I'm gonna call my mom.
Yeah.
And
But she's gonna walk you through it, and you'll still do it.
Yeah.
But you'll still do it.
yeah, but
Same.
on my own, I'm not. I like sushi. I like quinoa and couscous.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to find in my
Complete
grocery cart
coconut,
today.
guys. That was literally a coconut thing to say.
There's a coconut on my stew.
Yes, I will admit. No, I am. But that's what I was saying when I was talking to my mom about it. About relationships and what that's going to look like for me in the future, or what marriage is going to look like. Having seen, how my cousins have gotten married and stuff, I'm like, okay, culturally, I'm Tswana. There are Tswana traditions. If I were to marry a different man of a different culture, whether it be Zulu, Xhosa, Tswana as well, they probably have their own family traditions. And then we're Christian, so there are protocols that I believe we should follow under Christ as well. So
Absolutely.
where do we fit
the middle.
all of that
Yeah.
in?
Yes.
How does that
Such
all
a
make
good question.
sense? Culturally, religiously, where can we meet in the middle? Is it possible? What things do I throw out the window?
Yeah.
What things do I keep?
Yeah.
What part of that? Because when I bring it up to my other friends, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Karabo, don't let the church take your Tswana away from you." I'm like, "But
No, it's not that.
it's
not
the coconut thing again." You're for Jesus, but you're also for your culture.
You are for your culture.
Yeah,
No,
yes.
as a coconut
And nobody
family, we are
understands
for your
that.
culture.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a good point.
So true.
Yeah.
Guys,
I just
okay. Go
just
on.
to on a different, because you're saying that you're open to people from like dating a guy that's Tswana and everything. So I'm just assuming that tells me that you've had good experiences in terms of
That
like I know you haven't dated in a while. So for me, I really struggled with seeing myself married to somebody from my
tribe.
yes.
Okay.
Ish, Yule.
Yeah.
It's deep. The answer's deep. That's the answer.
I didn't want to say it.
guys, can you? Whoa,
I don't want to say
guys, our uncles followed us today. I won't be on the podcast.
But
they know themselves. Even
But
our
to be
cousins,
honest, I was traumatized
And our
by
cousins.
watching
They
the
know
men
we've
in my
had these
family
debates
and
with
how
them.
they treated women and how they ran their
And we've
marriages.
had
And I was
these
like,
debates with them.
I don't see myself surviving a marriage like
No,
that.
but Mo, it's legit because even now when I'm in my marriage, right?
Yeah.
So now sometimes the lens you're looking at your husband is like you think like with what you gonna do because all the uncles do. Like you like you know what I mean,
I know what you're
and you
saying.
like and it's the wrong lens to be looking at someone with, but it's just the norm of what we
grew up with.
We
It's
grew
what
up
we
with.
saw,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And but
But I did tell my uncle that hey, I will not marry anyone from. So he knows. He knows.
okay,
I
no,
always
it's
told
alright. Guys, but I want to go back also to Christian men again, ne?
But the submission aspect, we didn't quite go into that because we kind of veered off. We need to go back
so
to that. But
submission
no.
first, okay.
Go.
So in Christian guys, ne? So I also found like there was a trend. This is now I'm married, ne? And giving advice to youth or whoever, whatever. You know what I mean? The guys that are in our youth or the ladies in our youth, as a couple, Brandon and I also found a trend that Christian guys, ne? Even in our time before I was married, they've had this thing where they play the field. But so scandalously. Yes. They play the field, but they want to act like they're not playing the field.
Yes.
So,
But then they get protected.
Temba no. And also there was also another Sean. There was also there was also a Sean once upon a time. Ne? So this Sean dated my friend, ne? And then he broke up with my friend for whatever reason. And then, but we were all
Trying to picture
but
who these
we were
people
all
are.
no, you don't know them.
Okay.
We were all together as a group, ne?
Yeah.
So then he started checking out and sharing the other friend, but from the same group with him, ne? To the point where there was
Well, he
a
was
showdown.
still with the first friend.
No, now
They've
it was
ended.
the ex now.
Okay, but we're
But
still in the
still,
same circle.
yeah.
Yes, you're still.
So to the point where now there was a showdown in the visitors' lounge after church when there's visitors getting their tea and
During the
cake.
people.
There was a showdown between the two ladies, the ex and the one now that he's now sharing, ne? And I was like,
Popcorn.
No, I didn't. I wasn't. I was like, guys, please, visitors.
Those visitors were like, I'm coming to church next week.
They were like, those visitors
The
were like,
following week and for the rest of my life.
this is the church to be at.
Yeah.
And with
Because
that,
that's the tea.
and with that, guys, then this guy was also in the same group of friends. There was like 6 of us, bruh. 6.
That's not enough people.
So you've already
for
done
you
two
to be
in the
doing
same-
so much.
And then at the same time, you start now visiting at another friend in the group, her house. Many visits. You know?
The guy.
Yes.
He's visiting.
Yes. I'm like, you're trying to see which one is the fit. I don't know what's happening.
There's better ways to do that. You can just ask God.
All of a
And
sudden,
just take a
yeah.
step
No, but
back
then
and observe.
at that point, you're not looking for a fit. You actually are just enjoying the attention. And
So,
there's,
you know,
I think it's
ego
yes,
now.
I think
it's
it
an
was
ego
the
thing
ways.
now. It goes beyond you
But as a
wanting
Christian girl,
to
guys,
date.
but it's
Yeah.
not right, because as a Christian girl
Yeah.
at that age, you're trying to seek
You're
godly men, and you are
assuming-
serious.
Yes.
You're not
serious.
serious.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And being a
And they
woman,
can't
when a
also-
guy gives you
yeah.
attention, it's not a small thing. Like
No.
we're not like guys. It's like he must really be into me.
Yeah.
And then to see him playing the field like that. No.
Yes, and especially within a church, because within a church, if a guy shows interest, it's serious.
Yes.
Because then they don't talk about dating, they talk about courtship.
Courtship.
And then
Come
it's
on,
courtship.
Christian
and,
boys.
and the thing about courtship is that and courtship's serious because there's accountability. The elders know about the courtship because we're working towards marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not
mean?
dating to get to know each
Yes,
other. We're
and
dating for
British
marriage.
style.
And the likelihood,
Very
yes,
style.
the likelihood of courtship breaking, not becoming marriage, is not a high percentage. So
Yeah.
obviously, as a female, you're already your mind is
You're-
going. You're seeing your kids.
It's done. It's
You
done.
are seeing
the whole
your
future.
kids.
Yeah,
You've
no.
got a picture. Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm not done with this guy, ne?
Oh no.
Jiggy, about 1 month later, ne? He just disappeared, and then it's like, okay, cool. Some of them they're still in contact with messages. Jiggy, we check on Facebook.
He's married.
He just got married
Sorry, don't
to someone
This is what happens.
from a whole different church that we didn't even know,
Wow.
and he just moved overseas, just like that. Didn't even say goodbye, no party, nothing. And he's been in our
I
social
think I
circles.
just figured out who Sean is.
I don't know. You don't know Sean. Sean.
This Sean.
Are you talking about Sean or Temba?
Maybe there are more Seans.
No, dude. Sean was before your time. You've never actually met him.
I don't know.
Maybe
But
there are more
no,
Seans.
you
than
know
them.
Sean.
Let's talk about it
This just shows that there's a lot of Seans. Yes, there are Seans are many out there, dude.
And then Temba. Ne? Temba will be like, okay, cool. And I was watching Temba work on this one. I'm not going to say where.
Who are you thinking of?
was-
We'll talk about it later.
I was watching Temba. I was watching him work because we're on a project, ne? Jiggy, I see Temba smiling with this girl. Jiggy, I see Temba smiling with this girl on the project. And he's like, You know? And then she's all like,
I know who Temba is, too. I know.
yeah, she knows.
I wasn't there. I don't know.
But you can go on about Temba. 'Cause
You know Temba.
You know Temba.
Okay, what are we deconstructing here? Between Temba's interactions.
Temba, the year was 28.
Yeah, Christian guys, yo.
No, guys, that was.
Stop it though, guys. Christian
Playing the
guys.
field like that is so
No,
wrong.
but they do
so
that,
wrong.
and
That's
then
not
they
okay.
do. So they don't never commit. They never
Yes,
commit. So
and they
you can
never
never
say
go
anything.
there.
But they
and
leave you
can
little
never-
breadcrumbs and you think, oh, and then it's like, I don't know
Yes.
anymore because now he's talking to that one.
Yes, and then
There's a song that I
you're going
dedicated to
wait,
Temba.
with your Temba song. You go on roller coaster. You go through a roller coaster of emotions, right? Because Temba never commits. And you see these girls going through that, and Temba thinks it's well within his right because he's safe. It's like you're not allowed sex before marriage. Okay, then we'll just touch. Okay, then we'll just rub bodies. It's that same thing. That's what Temba does in a dating context.
But also, again,
so in a dating context,
community, where are
I'll
the
just
elders?
say,
Where are the deacons? Why are
Why
they not
is
calling
nobody
him
calling
out?
this out?
Why is nobody protecting the girls and saying, listen, guys, we've seen a trend with Temba over here. Just steer
'Cause
clear.
you can't
Just
see
if
them.
he smiles at you, look away. Let him sit on his own after
somebody
church and drink
must-
coffee alone.
But
because
But
clearly he
no.
doesn't know how to...
Temba is so clever, guys. Temba makes the girls feel like it's you and I. And nobody else. So you're not even going to tell your friends yet that there's something
then
happening with
there's
Temba.
also-
You're going home, you got butterflies in your tummy, babes, before you sleep. You get what I'm saying? And it's your thing with Temba that nobody else knows. And it's also Temba's thing with some so and so that nobody else knows.
There's something that happened when I fell victim to that timber
you
as
fell
well.
victim to timber.
I did fall victim to that timber. But something as well within the church was said to me. And I think this is also another issue. Was I need to, the year was 2018. There was timber 1, there was timber 2, and there was timber 3. The fault was now mine.
What do you mean?
Because they all.
Because
why
Why are you the girl?
Yes, why am I? Well, so now what are you doing?
What are you
to lure
tempting them
these timbers?
See? Now that's where
Now
I get upset.
it's put back on the kid.
Now we're all Rahab.
Now we're all Rahab.
Although she's one of my favorite characters.
And
Same.
now we're all
Love her
Rahab.
so much.
But anyway,
Yeah.
the song that I dedicated to that timber was "Melt My Heart to Stone," Adele, because there's a line that she says. And I hear the words you made up. You say my name like there could be an us. At this tiny of my head, I'm the only one in love. I'm the only one. But she basically says, like, I hear all you said
You
words,
say
but
certain
you didn't
things,
say anything.
but you didn't really
That's
say.
why you can
But
get
can
away
I just
with
talk
it.
about your case, if I may? You'll bleep it out if you don't want me, but I have
Yes.
to say this. This is, and I want every Christian guy to hear this. I don't know if they will because of the podcast, but this is very important because you're actually playing with women's lives.
Yeah.
Timber had timbered so much to the fact that all three of us were convinced that Timber was going to
he
ask her
played
for
all of
courtship
us.
the
All
one night
thoughts that she
when he came to pick her up.
All 4 of us.
4 of us, even my husband, we were like, this is it, Mbadi Timber is asking. How do you not only convince the person that you're playing, but you convince
All of us were
The whole
convinced.
family.
Yes, the whole family. And then that Timber takes her somewhere to where he goes and he asks somebody else to court someone else.
Picks her up to go and make her be a witness.
To the courting of
To
someone
his-
else.
Hey,
And was that control? What the hell was that?
That's also then he clearly knows what he was doing. So then he doesn't have to say it to you. But
Now you
again,
can see. Yeah, it was his way of saying, see what you see. I'm with you. This is where
I'm
I'm
with
at.
this now.
So,
but again, I think
Oh,
I
so-
kind of want to She didn't want to have the convo.
You're so
he
gangster.
just showed her. He was like,
Coward.
look and
Because
see.
he knew how he'd lifted her up and
Coward.
he didn't want to...
he knew what he had done.
Yeah. But I want to throw it out here. It might be a little bit controversial, but I feel like today as women, if there is a timber, right, we should not be putting so much of ourselves into the pursuit of being somebody's wife, right? If timber was out here,
We should not.
we shouldn't be putting so much into the pursuit of being somebody's wife. If timber was timbering, to me today, I would be like, okay, but where are the actions? Why are you not saying words? Why are you not asking me out on a date? Why are you not
Exactly.
making this a public thing?
Exactly.
Because if you want to do this, let's do it. And if you don't, if you want to play games, I'm not about that. You can go play
We're not
somewhere else.
playing
But how old are you?
Today, that's what I'm saying.
Today.
Me today, I would say that.
Yeah, it
27.
It takes a while to
Yeah,
get
you're
to
still
that
young.
point.
To that
We're
point.
young.
But
Yeah.
it's the young ones that get
22 and
played.
23,
Yeah.
you wait. That desire in your heart for marriage should not be so all-consuming at this point. That you're not bringing
Yes.
other people into it. That you're not waiting for him to follow
okay,
the proper
okay.
protocol.
Okay.
And it goes back
But
to what
then
Judah was
it's us.
saying.
We need to teach
yes,
them
that's what I'm
that.
saying. It goes back to
Yes.
what you were saying. We need to prepare young women, young men, because it's at that vulnerable stage
That
where people can
awkward
take
stage,
advantage of you.
yeah.
Where you don't know, okay, what is this? This is on the
Especially if you
fence,
don't have a great father
but you
figure.
grab onto the nice thing about it, but then something doesn't feel right about
something
this.
doesn't
but
feel
nobody's
right.
coaching you through this. You don't know.
And you don't have a great father figure either. So
yeah, that's actually a huge thing.
That's a big
Fathers
deal.
are so important.
and it's the time where the church is preaching about marriage because you're coming into the
Brandon
space
has
where
something to say as well.
yes.
After you- Okay.
So I want to start off by saying I love ETV.
Hey, we know where you are.
And I'm not affiliated with them in any way. So it's just a pure love, right?
Not after the conversation we had. But sure.
And I think Timbers are beautiful people. So if you're a Timber out there, please don't take offense,
love you,
right? It's just a
Timber.
code name. No, don't be apologetic. Don't be apologetic.
No, it's not being apologetic. It's what I was saying earlier in the car. Sorry to interrupt you. How
No worries.
someone will do one or two bad things or be on a path that's bad, and then there's this culture of just throwing the whole person out.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
there's
we
still
shouldn't.
good about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but you can. I think carry on using the code word. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to say this clearly. Like Mbali did mention, she's a youth leader, and as a father, I definitely would trust her with my children. I think as human beings, we are work in progress, and we are learning as we go along, and I think that's what's key. So to the point that I want to bring, that I am bringing now, is okay. I'll ask the question last, but let me start off with. You mentioned a good point about pornography and men, and I'm leading off the line, my last few lines, that we are work in progress and we are learning. You know, I think sometimes, look, and it's not a blame game. There's a vulnerability to that sort of thing. I mean, this, especially if you're an adolescent, our blood is hot. We are rare. You understand what I'm saying? And
women
just
can't
the
identify
slightest
with that.
hint.
Yes, they can.
Yes, they can.
Can. No.
We'll chat about
They
that.
can what?
Carry on. Some of us clearly have
Okay.
more self-control than others.
Self-control. Yes, no, clear. And that's a very good point. It's a very valid point. It's a very valid. Some have more self-control than others. And that's for both, actually. It goes both ways on that one. But I did want to just say, you know, it's not even in defense, but it's just to bring another perspective.
Another perspective, yeah.
That sometimes the slightest hint can set the hot blood off on a tangent of note. You understand? And I do agree that it's something that needs to, you know, we need to hold each other as men accountable on.
Yeah.
So when you mention father figures, like now, it's very important. But there's another aspect to that, in that baby boomers and maybe the older generations are not inclined to think towards handling our needs. So I'm talking to now millennials now. And we've fallen by the wayside. And most of the things you're talking about, I honestly believe, are from millennials and probably
Down.
to the
the-
latest generation.
Gen XYZ and Alpha.
So there is now a gap. There's a gap that needs to be bridged, obviously, and which comes back to my point. We need to hold each other accountable as Christian men, as men in general,
Yes.
right?
I like that, yeah.
In all fairness, to my point of us being kings of the jungle, what I actually meant was, what I mean is, we are tasked to protect the pride, and that's a huge responsibility. Sorry, I don't mean to bore you,
No,
but it comes with that. So, and now maybe I'm leading.
Don't be apologetic.
Yes, don't apologize. I'm leading to the main question, which you will obviously you asked just now about submission. What is submission? What does that look like? And for me, my understanding is that you both have to submit to something, as the husband and as the wife.
Yeah.
You have to, not submitting to each other, but you're submitting to something within the togetherness.
yes.
And what does that look like? What is that something?
Submission gives me the heebie-jeebies. It
No,
really
I like
is.
submission.
I love
I've
it
always
too.
liked the
You
idea.
know why?
I-
Because
I-
you watch too much WWE and
What do you
wrestling.
mean?
Submit!
Time to control. Because I've seen such ugliness
No,
in
they said
submission. I've seen such abuse and things in submission. But I think it just to answer for me in my marriage, or what I've tried to lead in my marriage with my husband.
Did
Is
you say
that-
they lead?
Husband.
Yeah,
Did
that's
this
why I
woman
hated
just
to
say lead?
What did she say? Husband?
She tried to lead
Oh my
in a marriage.
goodness.
That guy's
That's-
She tries to demonstrate.
Demonstrate.
She tries to
Oh,
To
demonstrate.
demonstrate. Oh my gosh. Is that submission needs to, and we submit to each other, and it must make sense
I hear you.
for me. So I'm not going
What does
to.
make sense mean?
So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I in my marriage, I handle the finances, right? I'm not going to say that Andy must handle the finances. He doesn't want to. He's not good at it. I'm good at it. Okay, and I actually enjoy that admin.
Guys,
of-
Andy washes the dishes.
Oh,
Everybody doesn't wash dishes.
Every day.
okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, why don't you bring that one up?
According to their skill set
Yeah.
and their giftings
Right?
in Christ.
They've spoken
But
about it,
then-
they've communicated,
But
they're
what
comfortable.
gives me the
Their
heebie-jeebies,
marriage.
right, is that it feels like the church will say no, and he must do the finances because
don't
he
think
is
so.
the man. But that's the message,
That's the message
I've
that
received.
Yeah.
Okay. Not from our church.
Let
We
me
love
tell
our
you,
church.
this is also why
Our church
a
is a
lot
good church.
of women get the heebie-jeebies because of that submission word.
Yes.
Because feminism has given women the gap that it felt like church was missing. Of that, I can do the finances and my husband can do the dishes. He can do the cooking, drop the kids off at school, and I can do my 9 to 5
just
work
makes
from
sense.
home. It's not like the gender roles are what has tripped people up.
Yeah.
Because your marriage is your marriage. Your marriage is not going to look like
Each
your sister's
household's
marriage.
marriage.
It's not going to look like your marriage because each person has a different skill set
Yes.
and abilities, and what is suited for you and your partner is not going to work for every. It's not cut and dry, but it's about knowing, like he said, the responsibility of a husband to lead that household, to facilitate that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even be able to do that if your husband didn't give you the space
Exactly.
to. He could have
Yes.
been financially abusive and said, listen,
And say,
here,
no, I'm
woman,
so bad.
even though I'm not good
Yeah.
at, we can get an accountant to do the stuff because I don't trust you with these numbers
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you also need to trust the person that you married,
Yes.
surely.
I love that. Because also
Yes.
at the end of the day, you want things to run smoothly. Now, if
Yeah.
we both want that, then okay, you do the finances because I'm not gonna end up doing anything because
Yeah.
it's gonna stress me out, and then I'll sit every day and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and then it's not done. Then you 6 months or 6
Yeah.
years down the line, you're like, what happened to our finances? Why are we having foreclosure on our house? Why are they taking our car away? Because he was forced or she was forced to
And
do this
even with
particular
things
thing.
like things like debates. So I know there's the message that if you guys are, let's say, deciding on something to buy this house or not to, and you're saying, as the woman, you're like, maybe it's not a good idea, and the man's
The
like,
man
yes,
has
it's
the
a good
final
idea.
answer.
The man has the final say, right? Even that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Ne?
I don't mind
And I
that
can-
though.
and I can
Personally, I don't mind.
Listen,
I don't mind the man having the final say when there's no agreement.
Listen, Linda.
Linda. My name's not Linda.
I feel
I
like
love
we
that.
can both take it to God.
God, thank you.
Take it
Let God
okay.
have the final say.
God really
Okay,
does
I
answer
like that.
these
Because if
things,
you're in
guys.
contention and I'm in contention, there's no
Let's take
way
it to God and let's
we're
both
saying
hear.
no my way or the highway.
guys, no, wait, can I jump in here?
Because you know what else it says? It says it's still saying that you, woman, your voice is not. Is
When it comes
not
down
as
to
good
it,
as mine.
I'm-
At the end of the day,
No, guys, those are the Babylon principles we're talking about. You must understand that we live with kingdom. They don't operate the
Kingdom
same.
principles.
Kingdom
Yes.
principles. We are dealing with spiritual things that happen that you can't answer for them. So, for example, this one girl was being mean to me a couple of years ago, and she was just being out of hand. And God was like, "No, just shh." She came back to me, all of a sudden a huge email. I'm so sorry, I didn't even say anything. So I'm saying, submission, okay, the just shall live by faith. If y'all don't want to live by faith, that's fine. Then don't be the just. The just shall live by faith because there's a dependency. When God tells you to submit, He wants us to trust Him with submission. So if your husband is saying the wrong thing, and when you know what you prayed to God, you're like, and you take it to Him like, I feel God has said this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ne? And He still says, no, we're going this way as a household. Ne? As the final answer. You go that way and you say, God, I've brought my way, you know? You'll be surprised. God will bless His way even if it wasn't the right way.
Okay.
Because it's
Can I-
not
okay,
kingdom
yeah.
principles.
I hear
So I'm
that.
saying that's why I'm saying that's why God, because at the end of the day, ne, even when we're voting, I say when we're voting, let's have a committee that's not an equal number, an odd number. So they can be, that final decision is needed, and God knows that. That's why
I
He
hear
made
that,
the,
ne?
you know what I
But
mean?
my thing is,
Yeah.
ne? That's
What's your issue?
God is
no,
still
my
in
issue,
the
my
final
issue, my
say.
issue, my
Brandon
issue
has
there.
got a 2 cents
Your
on
issue,
that.
the root of it, the
No,
root of
my
it
issue is that the fruits are not showing.
Yeah.
The fruits, there's so many marriages within the Christian realm that are
Breathe,
falling
girl,
apart.
But if they're falling
Because
apart,
of
then we're
those
not
things.
listening. You know when I'm being
that's not
disobedient, it falls
dude,
apart, and I know
but
that.
people are going under. It's from there's a line here, ne? That for me it crosses where it goes into the toxic submission now, right?
No, but we spoke about
so now
community
it's
and toxic
blindly
submission.
It's these things have nuances,
No, but we've
right? The
spoken about
situations are
community.
different. Wait, the situations are different,
Yes.
right? So yes, there can be things like that where God calls you to. He'll be like, okay, yes, you maybe this time, shush.
No,
just
I'm bad.
go
Yeah,
this. And there's other times where you need to
I-
come together and talk it out, or maybe bring someone else in, someone that you trust, an elder, whatever, into the situation. For me to say blindly that when there's two opposing when you got ideas that it always has to be the man. For me, that is
No, it
not
doesn't
okay.
always have to be. It's his prerogative, ne?
So,
to say, I'm actually going with Mbali's idea. He doesn't have to go with your idea. He, as
Yeah.
a man, must understand what his wife...
But
it also
remember-
teaches him. It also teaches him to listen to his wife and understand that she brings something that's beautiful. And he doesn't actually have to go with his idea. He's going with your idea. So all we're saying is that there's one decision maker.
Yes.
So whether he's choosing your decision or his decision is what we are
And the
arguing about.
responsibility of
But
everything
my
that comes
thing is-
after that falls on him. Sorry.
Yes, because
No,
at the
I
end
don't
of the
like
day,
the language
he's got
that
a
you're
mental,
using,
bruh.
Carrie.
At the end of the day,
Because-
the questions are going to be fired at him. That's why I said, you see all these
He has to
controversial...
answer for that,
He has to
yeah.
answer, because all these controversial things that I'm saying here, ne, on TACOMS, I'm like, my husband has watched the episode. He's agreed. He said, speak from the heart. If someone had to come and... they won't address me.
Then
He's
go to
shielding
your
me. He's
husband.
my security.
Yeah.
It
You
is
see,
his
and I think that's the
God-given
beauty
job
of it, is that
God
you
has
actually
given
get
him.
shielded. He's in the front line, so that's why
He's taking
he has to
ownership
take
for
those
that decision. He's the one that understood what you're
because
saying
he's
and
the
said, I'm
firing
coming
line.
behind that.
Ne? I hear that. I hear the
Brendan wants to
taking
say
lead
something.
and shielding.
Yes.
But why does something always have to be removed from the woman, or some? Do you know
Nothing
what I'm
is
saying?
removed.
Things,
It's
There's something,
lens.
but
There's
there's
nothing
something
removed.
also being given to her. If because now it's the roles now.
It's like-
we are equal,
yes.
but this is my role as the man. I have
But
to
let me
lead
tell
this
you
family.
something.
Equal in value, different in function.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what for me the issue here is, like, let's say this table, ne? So this table, men can roam, and women, right?
Yeah.
So we'll say, like, this is, I don't know, the scope of life. But then what we say is that, so men have the scope of life, women, you can't go to that corner there. That for me is like,
Can I?
so
I will
then
share
bringing
an
it back-
experience
so bring it
after
back-
Randon speaks. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
now bringing it back
Oh,
to
sorry,
this
sorry.
context. Sorry,
Yeah.
Andrew. So bring it back to the context of he's always the decision maker, the final say. For me, it's saying that there's this part in your marriage that
It's beautiful.
you don't participate in.
No, we're not saying that.
How?
Okay,
Okay,
tell me what's
wait,
your
guys.
issue.
Let
I
Randon
don't
speak
know.
what
At
he's
the end
saying,
of the day.
because Mbali is speaking about an extreme situation,
Yeah,
but and
sounds-
Yule is
No, Mbali's not speaking about
But she's- yeah.
She made them very... She's
I'm
talking
just
about
saying
normal
it's
everyday what cups that we
nuances,
buy.
guys.
okay.
Can
I
I-
will share something
Nuances.
of my own
I-
experience
Because
in my
even when you
marriage.
said,
How
like,
does it make you
when-
feel?
Because you even say, like, when
How
you
does
go
it make
with
you
the
feel?
woman's decision,
Yes.
he is the one that is going with your decision.
So how does that make you feel?
You're saying the same thing that you've said, and so are you.
I
And
just
you guys
need to
are
know
not
how it
hearing
makes her
each-
feel.
You're not hearing each other
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
So let's get a different party in. Let's
Okay.
get the voice.
Yes.
Let's get a different case study, and then we can maybe get to a good space.
okay. I've recently learned this, so I'm just gonna be vulnerable in sharing this, right? As a man wanting to progress the status quo of my marriage, right? There's some. Let me just say, I went to the well, and the wisdom that was given to me was to make sure that my significant other is always in a safe space, and the fact that women too also have ambitions to lead their lives in a certain way. So a job as the husband or the person who covers her, I have to cover. She's got to be safe enough to explore that, to feel safe first to explore that,
Yeah.
and feel safe when the correction comes.
Yeah.
In her exploration, I think it's a give and take situation there, and that's why, you know, I've realized that, okay, fine, she's got a voice, and maybe that's what she's called to. She's not yet there fully, but I should allow her to explore that, and
use words like
witness
allow.
that.
Yay, yay.
Sorry, I'm using the wrong word by allow, but it's for lack of a
over
better
there.
word.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's for lack of a better word. And yes, like was what was mentioned earlier on, they take the shots when they come and as they
I
come.
didn't throw shots.
You understand? And
No,
stand,
she was.
He's saying that he
said
takes the shot for
like what
you.
you were saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
you know,
Backing you up, backing you up.
and it's finding the balance in that, to be in a situation to allow someone to explore something, and also put my life down the line, and protect my wife and cover her. You understand? Take the stance of cover, and I think that balance, that's our responsibility, mainly as men.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
General.
that.
Yeah.
Cover
No, I
me,
hear
my
you.
Lord.
I think for me, it's just from what I've seen, the fruits are not good.
But sometimes the fruits, buddy, just to go to that, sometimes you may not see the fruit immediately, or you may not be in view of
The whole situation.
And that's a very specific scenario. So I can see how it's easy to say I don't see the fruits in that scenario, but sometimes it's for somebody else. The fruits are happening elsewhere. Somebody else may be observing and seeing something that they
But it's not
need.
just not seeing fruits, it's seeing bad fruits. It's
Okay, bad
seeing
fruits. Okay.
bad
But I
fruits.
see
And
Skarabo
I
spoke
think-
about, so the entirety, if we're looking at situations where community is needed, because to submit to that is like the decisions you're making, my guy, are illegal, they're wrong,
Yeah,
they're abusive, then that's needed in community, because the Bible does not advocate such decisions.
Yeah.
So already you know that it's not in the light.
And
So
I
that
think,
needs
and
to
I
go
think,
to God.
can I-
But it doesn't, just because some people take
before you ask,
wait, I'm
just
not
trying
done.
to
Wait, I'm not
understand.
done, guys.
Before
Just
you
because
ask.
some people do submission wrong, it doesn't mean submission is not right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just want to quickly share my experience that I had, because I was put in a position where he was struggling to take that lead role. And I had to take it. I was forced to take it. It was bird. It was because it's not my
Bird.
bird.
Yeah.
It was bad because it was not my place, and I really prefer to be in that submissive space where you need to lead this family forward. I need to take my cues from you. I need you to tell me which way we're going, where we're at, because it's not for me to lead. Look what happened when we led. Okay, I'm not going to go into the details of that. It's a very private matter, but I'd rather, for me, the submission is so important because I need you to lead me.
So
Wait,
then can I ask
On
then
this point,
just to get a little more clarity. So then if he's leading and who bird? So do you understand?
Communication needs to happen. The community needs to be involved. That's why we have accountability. That's why we have our pastors. We need to be in a community where we can say, okay,
It's bad.
it's bad right now.
This
Even
is
Which
what's
is
going
the
on
same
here is
thing,
not what we
right?
want to
Which
be happening.
is in your situation, right? As well, when you let us bad, and for to fix that balance, right? There was also an element of community coming in and
yes,
this and that.
yeah,
And I think that's all I'm saying is that it's nuanced. When you put in put in a rule where it can only go, or maybe
Trust
if
God,
it can
babes.
only look this way, it can
Trust
only
God.
look this way. For me, that's where the issue comes, because when it's you have had to leave, it was bird, as a woman, and then this side a man is leading and it's bird. The
it's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
all round. Birds all round.
Yeah, like yes, communities come in here, but then they're not going to say the exact same thing to this situation as it is to this situation, right? Because the situations are nuanced. They're different.
Yeah.
So it's that's I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And maybe I just went about it a roundabout way, but
No, we hear you.
yeah.
And like it's legit. And I think also with community, there's also a level of trust in God.
Yes.
With
Yes,
something,
I like
some
that.
things God can only
Yes,
own.
yes.
It might be
It must
buried
just
for
make sense.
15 years, and then because
There
it
we
was
go.
buried in 15 years, consider it pure joy when many trials come your way. And then afterward, you guys, your character is so built, and you're untouchable.
Yeah, I
Like
think that's the
spiritually.
nice thing when couples can overcome these difficult, hard things that this went really bad. Can we still move forward from this? Because then it builds character.
Great ringtone.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. My phone is ringing.
Oh.
In the other room.
Oh, in the
Yeah.
other room.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, I was
It's
like, is that a
literally
neighbor
in the
or-
lounge.
Can I also just add one? No. Okay, so I wanted to come back to Rainan's point, right?
Yeah, we need to wrap up
I
soon.
just
It's
want
long.
to say
It is
the way that we as a government has allowed different things to come in our country. I'm talking about porn
We as a
and the
government.
internet, the government,
Oh,
the
the
country,
gov-
whatever.
Government.
All of us, because we haven't protested either.
Oh, yeah.
We're trying to wrap the conversation.
We haven't protested either.
This is you, Lay. When you try to wrap up, she brings in the new
But
song.
we haven't protested either, so we've
Yeah.
allowed this thing to come into our country to shape our next generations, ne? That's why you also then people like getting extremists like Putin.
Yeah.
Because like stop everything. Then I don't want
Yes.
this, I don't want that, and it's just like
And then he looks like the bad guy, but he's literally like, guys, morals. Like
everything
we
is,
need
you know what I
morals
mean?
again.
And now we can't see what's for what because
They said bring back shame on the internet. I said,
I like that though.
I'm saying I think actually
I like that though because
Yeah,
shame
shame
is
is
needed.
needed.
People
have lost that shameless
we need
generation.
bullying again. People need to bully each other again.
this is a shameless generation,
It's a
bruh.
shameless
yeah, and
generation.
it's too shameless because where is your moral compass?
Exactly.
And how are you treating the other, and it's like, what about everyone else that must look at you and observe you living so shamelessly that can be offensive? Like, and people are often like, everyone is so offended these days. No, you're actually offended by the wrong things. And the
Yeah.
Bible says that we must be
Yes.
grieved for the things that he is grieved
Absolutely.
for,
I
and not
love
enough
that.
of us are in that space.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, no, as a joke, I just, when you were saying the man must lead and make a decision, I was thinking about how often when I talk, Garab, what's your type? What are you looking for? I'm just like, first, indota must. Maybe ne plan.
Indota must.
Maybe ne plan.
Yeah.
You have
First
to have a
and
plan because then you
foremost.
feel secure.
Secondly, can you just tell me what to do? Because I don't want to think.
I need to tell me what to do.
I don't know what to tell me when to
I'll
go.
be
I'll
out
go
with
there.
my friends, right? And we'll eat, and at the end of the day, the bill comes, and then she'll be like, let's just split the bill. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah,
Just tell me what I must do. Just tell me what
And you have to do calculations and calculators out now.
bro.
Now
Like,
you
I was
think
like,
it's next to your organ, next to your thing, so that you know
Just
this
tell me
between
what I must do, and I'll do it. Sometimes it's that easy.
And it is that easy.
It can be nuanced. It can be. Let's wait for
Yes.
God. Let's wait for community. At the end of
Just
the
tell
day,
me what to do.
Yeah.
Don't be like
I don't
you
wanna think.
decide
Because
what do you
again,
think. There's
as
too
a
much. Like, just tell
woman,
me what
I just
to do.
want to be. I also want to feel
I just
safe
wanna
and
be.
comfortable in this
Yes.
relationship. I just want to chill. I want to feel
Yes.
like you've got it,
I don't need-
and I've got you.
Yes.
If you need it,
Yes.
And the
tell
thing
me
is,
what to do.
Yeah.
tell me what to do.
feminine
You do
energy is
bruh.
being.
You
Yeah.
do all the admin. You
I'm
do
with
whatever's
you.
needed.
I'm
Just
with
tell
you,
me what to do.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's so
It
true.
must be just yeah.
This is so
yeah.
fun. Thank you guys
I'm
so
with
much
you.
for inviting me.
I know, it's awesome, eh?
Let's do it again.
Brandon
for
wants to
coming.
say
Yes.
something else.
But I think you still haven't answered the question
Submission. No.
about submission to
What was the question?
And I
Oh,
think it's
I like that
specific
question.
because
Christ.
it works. This thing works. Like it's tried and tested and
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Submission to
A good kind.
Exactly.
Submission to Christ was
Submission
telling you
to
to submit
Christ.
to your husband.
Yeah.
There it is.
Submit to one another. And then wives submit to husbands. Husbands
I
love
knew-
wife.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
So
I- I-
love,
I think
Love
it's-
and
Respect your husband, love your wife,
Submit to Christ.
submit to Christ.
And submit to one another. There's still this submit to one another.
One another.
That's
yes.
also there.
But
at the
even loving husbands loving their wives like Christ loved the,
The
church,
church.
that is heavy.
Big.
That is not a small
Big
thing.
responsibility.
Christ washed the feet of his disciples.
Yeah.
He served.
And yeah.
He humbled
Yeah.
himself.
Servant
You know what I'm
leadership.
saying?
And not
he
enough
led-
men hold each other accountable to what does that look like.
Exactly.
Because they just want to live and submit to me.
But what is the washing of the feet, my
what
man?
is the washing of the feet?
Yeah,
That's it.
so true.
Yeah, I guess Christ is the way then. Because we live in
truth
disobedience.
and the
We're
life.
disrespecting
Yeah.
husbands and what. Disobedience.
Yes.
So Mo said she was going to sing for us today before
I
we end
did.
the
What
episode.
am I going to sing?
What did I say I was going to sing?
Give me the song.
Just sing. I'm trying to think of what is a
Give
topic.
us a Mariah.
What's a
Give us
song
Mariah.
on topic? I can't live 11 years without you because what we used to say.
I can't.
He was a man.
What are you thinking?
What men's song is there?
I can't live
You're
it.
still
You're
not singing.
We're not doing Mariah Carey.
It's raining.
Hallelujah.
It's raining
By the way,
Christian men.
Gabo is single, guys.
Oh,
So if
Yes.
you're out
not
there,
to the comment section.
I mean,
Hey, you never know. Girl, I met my
She's
husband on YouTube.
fantastic.
You never know.
Guys,
as you
Gabo is
heard, she's
awesome.
27.
I'm not even kidding.
Please,
Yes.
like, yeah.
No, but
that's
you,
the
my
sales
friends,
pitch.
like you're
Do the
legit.
things.
Yeah.
You're legit stuff.
Thanks, guys.
You're legit.
And gorgeous. Come on, babes.
Yeah, she's a full package.
Listen, child of
Yes.
God, we'll see what he says.
Yes.
I've been convinced that he'll be my husband. If he doesn't, Christ
Oh, of course he will.
is the bridegroom of
Yeah.
all
I
bridegrooms.
like
Christ is enough for me. Yeah, right.
Christ
Yes.
is enough for me.
Come on.
Christ is
Enough for me.
Forget how the rest of the song goes.
Everything I need is in you.
Oh, yes, everything I need.
Yeah, I know.
Is in you.
Yeah.
I used to love that song. How can I go
I
blank on
also
it?
forgot about that song.
You, I was supposed to say you're the word
Sing
at the
it in
I
beginning.
have
I'm joking.
decided
I have to follow Jesus.
I have
Oh, is
decided
that the song that
to
goes into
follow Jesus.
no turning back. No turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back.
No, it's beautiful.
Before me, the world behind me. No turning back. No turning back. The cross before me, the world behind me. No turning back. No turning back.
And with that, that's the end of the episode.
I just wanted to say we're not affiliated with these guys, but please check out journeysouthafrica.org.
Totally.
It was mentioned earlier on. If you want to know more about it, just check it out. It's
Yeah.
www.journeysouthafrica.org.
Journey. Legit
We'll put
ministry,
the link in the
amazing stuff.
Description.
Link in bio. Good.
Thank you. Okay, and guys, remember we are on Instagram. The handle is @TACOMS_podcast. Follow us on Instagram, guys. We're trying to get to 1,000 right now. Can we get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and 1,000 followers, and we'll take it from there.
And I just want to
comment
say,
as well.
like, this is a bit controversial what I'm going to say, but if you're really serious about making a difference in this country and really serious about merging the cultures, guys, don't be offended. Please come listen to us because what we say is very important, and a lot of people are afraid
talk.
to have these conversations of what we really think. So to make a difference, we have to get under there, and it's not sometimes nice.
Yeah.
Even in the church. I think especially if you're in the church and these conversations make you uncomfortable.
That's a good thing.
You should, yeah,
It's
a
telling
good
your
thing.
body's telling you
Because
something.
when we don't have
Needs
these
to be addressed.
conversations, it gets culty.
Get Netflix documentary.
We don't want to see ourselves on Netflix, guys. Talking about our experiences in the cult.
And if you're up there, it gets Disney and Showmax Prime.
Exactly. All right, we're done with the episode. See you guys next week. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.